Okay.
We're going to go
Meeny,
ahead and
meeny.
record this into the cloud.
Let's record
Or
this into the cloud.
wherever that goes, who knows?
That dang old cloud, right?
Mhm. Speaking of clouds, I don't know, that reminds me of our topic that we talked about earlier in the week, and I'm excited about it. Can
Yeah. Our topic is dreams.
Yeah.
What what dreams are made of? Well, most people have dreams occasionally. Most people don't dream every night. Some people do. Some people say they never dream.
Mhm.
But what are they? Where do they come from? What's the purpose? And why are they interfering with my sleep? Darn them.
Hmm. Well, let's dive into that.
All right.
I've had some pretty intense dreams over the years, and
Mm-hmm.
they can be pretty horrific at times. Such so that you need to process them with somebody else, whether that's with the therapist or a close friend or a family member or maybe the person that the dream was about. But isn't it how amazing how like sometimes we have to shake that. Like we've got to shake that off. You just mentioned before we started, you had an intense dream not too long ago, and you had to process it.
I did Monday night this week. I had a very vivid, intense, awful nightmare dream. And I don't usually have those. So it really kind of shook me. And I had to really kind of like shake it off. And it had bothered me even through the next day. And the next day, I was fearful that I would just go to sleep and jump right back into it. And then, of
Hmm.
course, that caused me not to sleep that night. And,
Right?
so I've had a couple days off just because of one stupid, vivid dream. That doesn't really mean, I don't think it really means anything. And what do
Hmm.
dreams mean? Are they a little literal interpretation? Are they, what are they? I mean, there's some
Right.
theories about, dreams. Freud, it was always a, repression kind of thing and an expression of unresolved stuff.
Sexual desires of some sort.
All right. Yeah. He always went back to that, didn't he?
Right.
And he had a really weird relationship with his daughter. So but we're not going to go there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, most
Young
of his
had,
clients were like 35-year-old females.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
That's interesting, right? We know somebody else. Never mind. We won't go there. Um, Young had, his thing is, it was a processing thing. It was unresolved conflict, and your brain's
Right.
trying to process stuff, whatever. I mean,
Well,
there's
and
some
that's
different.
kind of the camp that I fall into, and I have found to be the most helpful is that
Mm,
these are things that you need to work through, and it's your brain's way, symbolically, um, for the most part, trying to come to terms with things and problem solve, and that seems workable. That seems actionable for us to
right.
process, but we really don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
going along with that theory that eliminates precognition, where like maybe Freud was kind of talking about some precognition that maybe these are, visions of things that haven't happened yet or things to come.
Hmm.
People talk about like remote viewing, seeing
Right.
certain things, and maybe in the dream state, there's a part of that that's going on. Seeing things that are happening in other places or things that are happening in the future, like Nostradamus predicting that, like, but
Right.
going along with, what I've sort of adopted in therapy is that this is just the brain's way of trying to process through shit. And
Right.
that feels comfortable to me, but we really don't know. That's
Right.
the
For
thing.
sure. Well, and to set this up a little bit, let's just talk for a minute about sleep in general. Right. So there's three stages of sleep. There's light sleep, deep sleep, and REM or rapid eye movement sleep. Um, Light sleep is restorative to your brain, lets it rest. Deep sleep, excuse me, is restorative to your muscles. But REM sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep, is when your eyes move back and forth when you're sleeping. It's accessing both hemispheres of your brain at the same time. Bilateral stimulation is what it's called. And it's when dreams happen.
Yeah.
REM sleep usually happens at the end of your sleep cycle, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh hour of sleep, for most, not all, but for most. And so if you're not getting good sleep, you're not getting to that REM stage, and your brain is unable to process information. And
Yeah.
I'm along the theory that, dreams are about your brain's way of trying to work through, work around, work over, think through
Hmm.
things.
Yeah.
And they're not, for me, dreams are not always literal. It's not, a one for one kind of thing. They can be representative of things. They
Yeah.
can be literal sometimes. Your brain is actually working through a problem. But it's really um, an interpretation.
Yeah, that dream that you're having of Karen in the neighborhood, you might actually have Karen or a Karen in the neighborhood who might be a witch, um, so to speak.
Right.
But in your dream, she's actually like flying around on a broom, throwing fucking pumpkin bombs at you, like that's probably not actually happening, but it's your brain's way of coming to terms with like, hey, this is crazy for me to like hold toxic resentments against her when, she's just another person in the neighborhood who has her own narrative and is just trying to do the best she can with what she has. And I'm going to have a little bit of empathy and compassion for her because she's not actually like throwing pumpkin bombs at me.
Right. But there are some common themes that we hear a lot. A few of them are falling, right?
Yeah.
Falling, flying is another one,
Mhm.
and one that I have had repeatedly over the years. Okay, I've had it probably 20 times over a lifetime, and it's my teeth falling out.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it always starts with one, and it's like, oh man, what the heck's happening? And now I got to go to the dentist, and then another tooth falls out, and then another
Yeah.
tooth falls out, and then next thing you know, I got all my teeth have fallen out.
Uh-huh.
And I've really looked at that one because it's personally affected me. And that one is feeling of loss of control.
Mhm.
You can't control the teeth falling out of your head. It feels like or it's a representation of you feel like you're losing control about things around you. You
Yeah.
don't have control over something. You're trying to tighten down control.
When we're human beings, so we're going to have some similar experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody is exactly the same, and there's going to be different symbolism in your dream state. However,
Mm-hmm.
there are some universal ones because, like, we're humans. We look very similar. We do some similar things. Like, we raise families and, like, have food and jobs and, you know, wash.
Mm-hmm.
There's some similar things that we do. And
Right.
so we're going to have there's going to be some universal symbolism in there, being
Mm-hmm.
the types of animals that we are. So, yeah, the teeth falling out, falling. Usually, I've found when we're processing in therapy, in the office if somebody is in some sort of vehicle, whether that's a plane, train, automobile, what have you.
Great
That's
movie.
sort of representative of the direction they're going in life, and based on what is happening in the dream, that
Mm-hmm.
might be symbolic of where you feel you're headed.
Yeah, they're moving in a
Stuck?
direction. They're
Can you
moving
not
in a
move it?
direction.
Right? Is it going in the wrong way? Are you going down the
Right.
wrong way? Right? Things like
I'm
that.
stuck on an airplane and on the tarmac. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. The other common one is flying. And, flying can mean that you do feel like you do have control and you have freedom and you're moving in a direction and you're overcoming a problem or an issue that has been plaguing you for a while.
Yeah. Water.
Or it's giving you that dopamine hit, that sense of freedom of if you work on your problems, this is what could happen.
Right. Right. Exactly. But water in the dream state can usually signify some emotional state. What's the state of the water that you're having in the
Exactly.
dream? And then that clues you in onto, how you're feeling.
Is it a nice calm lake with the sun setting, or is it a rough ocean with the
Right.
waves
Yeah,
lapping? Yeah.
exactly.
And is the water where it's supposed to be, or is it intruding into places it shouldn't be?
Yeah. Okay, think about this. I'm gonna fire this one out at you. If you are trying to run an update on your phone or
Mm-hmm.
watch or whatever, right? It usually has you put it on the charger, and it usually won't do the update until you at least have 50% battery, right?
Mhm.
Because it just can't function well
Right.
depending on how big the update is and how long it's going to take. It wants to make sure it has enough power to do that. So if you're not getting good sleep, good deep sleep, you're not recharged enough for you to reprocess through REM sleep.
Mhm.
So think about how many people are not getting that decent deep sleep. Maybe it's because of stress and anxiety. Maybe it's because of oversleep. They're sleeping too much. Maybe it's because of substances, like alcohol, and they're not getting into that deep restorative sleep. So their brains can't actually successfully go through REM sleep and work through issues.
Mhm.
Or if there's nightmares related to trauma, PTSD, and that
Mhm.
kicks them out of REM sleep and they don't actually get to reprocess
Mhm.
what they need to process and problem solve effectively. So that's what
When
we
people come
do.
to me and they're having problems with their dreams, or they're upset, or they're having emotional attachment to having dreams and what the dreams are saying or not saying or whatever, my first thing is, the good news is you're dreaming. That's the great news. So we're
Right.
just going to start there,
Yeah.
because when you're not dreaming, that can be problematic, because it would what basically, and it's not true for every case, of course, but basically, if you're not dreaming occasionally, most people don't dream every night, but if you're not dreaming occasionally, you're not getting good sleep. There's some interruption with your sleep pattern that you really need to take a look at.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was so interesting in the fact, and I still don't know what this means, and it probably means nothing, but I had this vivid nightmare Monday night, like I said, and I was texting with my son, which I do most days, and I told him I had a horrible nightmare, and he said, "Tell me about it," and I did, and he's like, "The weirdest thing. I had a vivid nightmare the same night, and it was a similar theme, not exactly the same, but a very similar theme."
Mm.
And I was like, "What is going on here?" I mean, we live far apart. We don't, our lives don't intermingle that much.
Mm.
Doing very different things, but it was just so interesting. I'm like, what is happening in the universe?
Right. Well, okay, we're human beings and we're privy to, okay, we live in the United States, so we're privy to what's happening,
Mm-hmm.
politically and, the
Yeah,
climate and, like the economy and all that. So we're going to have anyway some similar dreams related to that, you know.
yeah, yeah. And so interesting. And I dream. I think an average amount. No more, no, not more than average, but an average amount. And the only other time I've had that I can remember having really vivid nightmares was, I used to have problems with sleep. I still do occasionally, but it used to be more consistent. And I tried everything. I've done the ZQL, I've done the meditation, I've done everything, right, over the years. And I've found the thing that works for me now. But at one point in time, I tried melatonin.
Mhm.
I took melatonin, went to bed, had the most awful screaming nightmares
Yeah.
of my life, and um, and that is a side effect for a small percentage of people taking
Yeah.
melatonin.
Mhm.
And I woke up going, "Oh, that was really awful. I don't ever want that to happen again." I didn't equate the two at the time. The next night, I took melatonin again, and it was like I was right back in the same screaming, awful nightmare.
Mhm.
It was exactly the same. I just, it was like I had to hit pause, during when I woke up, and then jump right back into it. So I
Mhm.
woke up the next morning and I flushed all the melatonin down the toilet. I'm like, I'm never doing that again.
Yep, yep. It's
But
amazing how certain chemicals, what drugs, what have you, illicit or not, or just over the counter, how they can
mm,
interfere with the chemical messengers like that.
mhm,
Because that's, there's chemicals being released, hormones and whatnot, while we're in the dream state.
mhm, mhm.
Dreams can be really good though.
It can be very good. It is your brain's way of working through problems and issues,
Mhm.
or organizing information. We talk about during REM sleep, it's like a personal assistant in your brain, like organizing information. Oh, this file goes over here. This goes with this. This is not important. It's working memory. We don't need that anymore. Delete, 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 delete all that stuff. We don't need to burn it, shred it, put it in the shredder. We're acting like the government during a shutdown. Put it in the shredder. No, I
Isn't it
didn't mean
amazing that
it.
we do that
Sorry.
though?
I didn't mean it.
It's all good. We're all
um,
thinking it.
So, I mean, but that's what happens during REM sleep. That's why it's so important. When you don't get good REM sleep consistently over time, you get stuff that can be jumbled up in your head because your files are disorganized.
Yeah. If you want to feel like there is some precognition to your dreams and these are worries or things, potentials that are going to happen, then, what are you going to do about it? I think that's the most important thing. And even
Yeah.
if not, even if you subscribe to what we're saying, is that we believe that it's just your brain's way of trying to organize, problem solve, and reconcile things that have happened and reprocess them in a different way. Hint, hint, we do EMDR, and that's a great way for us to consciously engage that process of REM, at rapid eye
Mhm.
movement, but while they're awake and alert, and they can work through these things. And that's why it works so much faster than almost any other intervention that we've tried. But what actionable step are you going to take? That's why it can be so important, not only for you to talk about it with somebody that you trust or with your therapist, but also to write down or journal of some
Mhm.
sort, the things, maybe the themes, maybe some of the symbols in your dreams, and then look at it when you're consciously awake and alert so that
Mhm.
you can start putting the puzzle pieces together and figure out, well, what
Mhm.
does that mean? And what is that going to prompt me to do?
Mhm. Anytime something is bothering you, right? That's a time to put it down on paper. Because for a few reasons. Number one, you can remember it, go back to it, analyze it, take a look at it. You have you record it so that you can process it with a friend or hopefully more like a counselor, therapist. But two, it's that whole learning process, right? It's like the whole part of the magic of therapy is when you just have thoughts in your head, they're just thoughts in your head. Everyone has thoughts in your head, lots of crazy ones, lots of weird ones, lots of
Right.
whatever ones.
Yeah.
But when you say things out loud or put it on a piece of paper, they actually have energy in the universe and they live, right?
Yeah.
So you have to like think about it a little bit differently. It's not just a thought anymore. It's something that I've said or something that I've written on a piece of paper.
Hmm.
Now, I mean, and it can be very cathartic to write things down on a piece of paper. Because if you don't want to say them, you don't have a counselor to say it out loud. You don't want to talk to yourself and you don't want to discuss it with your friends. It's okay to write things on a piece of paper and you never have to show anybody. You can write it down, process it, look at it, and then when you're done with it, rip it up and throw it away.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
it has energy.
Yeah.
It exists in the universe. Thoughts don't really exist in the universe. Yeah, a little bit. They got a little bit of stuff going on there, but for the most part, the things you say and the things you write down live
Right.
like an alien.
Coming out of your chest. What you can utilize this. In fact, how about this, Brett? What if you write down at night before you go to sleep the things you want your brain to work on?
Ah,
These are the top three things I'd really like to work through and work on and
mm,
figure out what my next steps are or to
mm,
eradicate this so that I don't have to think or deal with this thing ever again. Hmm.
yeah.
What if you give that a try?
Some people are very successful in programming their dreams. Absolutely.
Yes. Wink, wink, wink. I'm mentioning this not because it was a random out of my ass thing.
Uh,
I have used it personally and I have instructed and encouraged others to do it. And when they do, it works.
yeah, absolutely. You have that problem that you just don't know which way to go with. You're trying to process through, trying to work through what do I do with this situation A?
Yeah.
Well, you write down the things that, tonight I want to think through and think about all the iterations of how do I handle situation A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Doesn't work every time, but absolutely works. And when it works great.
If you get in the habit of doing this, this is an amazing way to take charge, take control of your brain because you are in control of it. Hello.
It's your brain.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Mhm.
Mitch
Yeah.
Hedberg said, "I'm sick of following my dreams. I'm just going to ask where they're going and meet up with them later."
I love
He
that.
was he was a comedian that, passed
Yeah.
away way before his time, but
Uh,
I
that's a
still
great
love
one.
that. Yeah.
So if you don't have a notepad or something to write on and a pen or a pencil on the side on your nightstand, you're doing it wrong. You can be programming your stuff to what you want to dream about, and what more people do is jotting a few notes about when you wake up, because what most people realize is they remember their dream right when they wake up, but an hour later it's gone.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And well, why can't I remember it anymore? Not all the time, but in many cases it's gone. So that's why it's important. As soon as you wake up, jot a few notes.
Right. Especially if you are, because normally what's supposed to happen is that you don't realize you're dreaming and you don't remember any of your dreams and you wake up feeling refreshed and ready to take on the day. But if you're waking up in the dream or knowing that you're dreaming, um, which is lucid dreaming, being aware of the fact that you're dreaming and even having some control or agency in it.
Mhm.
But then something is going awry somewhere, And of course, we're not perfect. We're not normal. We're not always going to have I got the perfect stages of sleep, 5 cycles, and I got 8.5 solid hours, and I just wake up without an alarm and feel tremendous. And then, no. You gotta go pee for the third time, right? And you get kicked out
Just
of
us
that.
old guys, Tom. Just
Yeah.
us old guys.
A, a nightmare comes into play, Hey, one of the worst dreams that I've had over the years, and I've been sober for 25 years, have been like relapse kind of dreams. And I know people who are in the recovery community can relate to this, and they can be really scary because of how intense a relapse could potentially be and how life altering that could be. And so our
Mhm.
fears are things that can come out in our dreams.
Mhm. Yeah, that's interesting for sure.
Yeah, fears, I mean, like can be good if we utilize them and run towards them and figure out solutions to, combat, deal with, cope with if
Mhm.
these things were to happen, or at least as a precautionary measure, to, engage in things that would prevent these things from occurring. If I'm working a program of recovery, let's say, and I'm on top of that, then the chances of me relapsing are probably very, very slim.
Mhm.
But if you're not doing anything, taking steps towards that, then your fears may actually be materialized. So
Mhm.
it's important to not let our behaviors um, be dictated by our fears. Whatever you're avoiding is probably going to run your life.
Mhm. Well, I mean, one of the basic tenets of life, you are what you think.
Yeah.
That's the whole basis of self-concept. That's the whole basis of, I've talked to another kind of recurring theme that's been going on for a few weeks is broken relationships and people getting over relationships. And more importantly, the fear that I will not have another relationship in the future.
Right.
I talked to a 3-year-old last week or some other thing. And oh my God, I broke up with my boyfriend, and it was a really good move, and I'm not disappointed about the breakup. But I'm old. I'm never gonna find love again. I'm like 23 years old. Oh my
Right.
God. I'm like, but it's real for her. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
discounting it. It was real for her.
Yep.
Um, so it's that fear. And another interesting thing with dreams and fear is another recurring dream is not be showing up for an exam or a test and you're not prepared and you're
Right.
freaking out because I forgot to study. I didn't remember we had a test today. The one that I had was I get to my locker at school, and I haven't been in school, and I haven't had a locker in school in what 30 years, 40
Yeah.
years, 40 years,
Yeah.
something like that. I get to school and I don't remember the combination to my locker, and I can't get my books, and now I'm going to fail all my classes because I can't, all
Yep.
that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's that being unprepared. It's that fear of I didn't prepare enough for whatever thing I was supposed to do in my life or have,
Yeah.
my
Right.
responsibilities or whatever.
Something that's happening right now in your life.
Right. I'm feeling unprepared for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a symbol of that.
Right.
So
So,
these highlight our fears and our anxieties in our dream
yeah,
state, and you get into action. Write those things down, give it some life, and work through it together. Talk about it. Figure out what
right.
you're going to do. How are you going to tackle that? How are you going to be more prepared in life?
Right.
This is the thing that you're
Uh,
worried about,
uh,
for five
that's good.
minutes at a time. Then get
Right.
back into the moment.
Uh-huh. So it's funny, back to, it's all about me, Tom, today. Back to my nightmare on Monday, I was texting with my son. And he's like, so what does it mean? Right. And I'm like, I don't know, three-eye atlas hurtling towards us, and we're assembling all the top military in the world. So I'm sure it has nothing to do with
Right.
that.
Right. We can't even call on Bruce Willis.
I know, poor guy.
Right. Mhm.
Poor guy.
But that was a great movie, though.
I know, Armageddon.
Yeah.
Let's just drop a nuke on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Another topic that has come up that people have brought up is, I mean, this whole concept of uh, UFOs, UPOs, aliens, and this, with all
UAPs.
this
Yeah.
stuff happening. Yeah, but maybe a topic for a different time. But interesting,
Now you're gonna have on your feed somewhere like alien sightings, I think,
right?
right?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, interesting things for sure. It, what did Confucius say? May you live in interesting times. So if Confucius was here right now, I'd smack him across the face and say, "You can keep your interesting times. I want the boring times."
Give me the boring times back. Right.
Yeah, it's a little too interesting for me right now, Tom.
Huh.
That's all
Confucius say, when fighting drunkard, best to stay out of way.
right. Do you remember how awful and racist and some of those old shows were? I mean, I saw a TikTok and it
Yeah.
was like the top 10 cartoon faux pas of all time, that would things that would never fly these days.
Yeah.
You remember Bugs Bunny shooting the Indians?
Yeah. Right.
One, two, one little, two little, three little Indians.
Yeah. Can you believe that thing's just we got away with that kind of stuff before?
Oh yeah. And it
Wow.
was, I mean, yeah. Have we evolved? Yes. Were times simpler back then? Yes. We didn't take things so seriously.
Yeah.
And obviously racism and all that stuff is awful, and whatever, and we need to be aware and prepare and all that stuff, but come
Yeah.
on, I mean, let's not lose our sense of humor along the way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Exactly. Right. We've got to spark some more of that humor and to not just take things so seriously. I mean, I can't tell you, and we've talked about it before together, but also on the show, how many people come in just enraged at a comment on social media somewhere and they fed into it and engaged with it, and you're just like, fuck, man, just turn it off. Delete your thing to get rid of the app or just don't feed into it. Like
Right.
you're not educating this person, and they're going to be like, "Oh,
Right.
wow, you've really changed my mind in a great way. Thank you so
Right.
much for commenting."
So think about this. Out of every 10 people that come to us, how many of those people have went on a rant about something that happened on social media?
Hmm. At least three.
At least three.
Yeah,
I
at least.
would dare to say that's much higher,
Yeah, yeah, at least three.
but at least.
Mhm.
And in the back of my head, my answer is always, I see a common theme here. What's going on?
Yeah,
And I will tell you, I have never had a Facebook account, never in my life. I don't do Instagram. I don't do Snap. I've had them along the way. Not that I've ever posted on anything. It's just been for different purposes.
yeah,
But I am not unplugged to social media whatsoever. I have a TikTok that I look at and have never ever posted. Um, and I guarantee you, I am happier for it.
hmm
I don't miss out on anything, and I am not frustrated. It's funny. People say, "Did you see so and so's comment? I can't believe it." And I'm like, I don't know
Nope,
what I'm talking about.
nope, haven't.
I didn't, and I don't care.
Yeah. Be mindful, just like your experience with the melatonin and how for you that mucked things up. Whatever you're consuming at night before you go to sleep, whether that's on your phone, through social media, or whatever you're watching, or for a lot of people, it's both, that's going to have an impact on your dreams.
Hmm. Yeah.
And if you engage in some good sleep hygiene, it might be a really good idea to go ahead and turn off all that stuff like 30 to 40 minutes before you actually do fall asleep.
Hmm.
And then you write in that time, hint, 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 you write down what you want to deal with
Hmm.
in your
What do
dream.
I want to dream about tonight? What problem do I want to work through? If I wake up tomorrow, I want to have resolution on A. I
Yeah.
want to know how to handle B. I want to have clear thoughts about C, whatever.
If you usually turn the television off and put your phone away at 11 and then you go right to sleep, just do this, practice this. Please just try it out for the next week. Shut the TV down at quarter to 11, put your phone away, lie there in bed. And if you're with your spouse, you can talk, right? And just do some nice deep breathing.
Hmm.
Think about the things you want to work on in your dream state. Maybe write those things down, with a little
Hmm.
book light or something. Um, and then just lie there and breathe and allow yourself to just fall asleep naturally.
Hmm. And you are what you think. So talk to so many people that have problems sleeping because they get in bed and they're like, oh my gosh, to be another night. I'm going to toss and turn all night and I'm never going to get any sleep. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Right.
Well, that's, of course, is exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So get in bed, just like we talk about, internal elevator speech, self concept, self dialogue, all that kind of stuff. I am going to have the best night's sleep tonight. I'm just looking forward to this bed is so comfortable. It's nice and
Yeah.
warm. I'm here with my spouse. I'm going to have just a great night's sleep tonight. I'm going to take some deep breaths and in and out and blah, blah, blah. And boom. There you go.
Right. If I remember you said all the time, if you're looking for to purchase a red pickup truck, all of a sudden out in town, all you see are red pickup trucks, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where your brain goes. That's what your focus goes to. So if you're thinking, to your point, negatively, that's where your brain's going to go too. So why not take control of that and put some
Mm-hmm.
positive affirmations in there, put some positive thoughts and focus on those things, like,
Mm-hmm.
and then see what occurs, see what happens. There are both out there in the world. What are you choosing to focus on?
Right. And dreams, pay attention. They're not the end all be all. If they bother you, write them down, talk to somebody. But just know they can be just a jumble of things up there, just representing weird things. So
Yeah,
don't get too wrapped up about it. If they bother you,
exactly.
then they bother you, and do something about it.
Yep. Thank you.
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the theater?
Well, really good actors, like it was
I
a
got
little
a
hot
little,
in there.
I got a little
I got
spray
a little
on me,
spurt.
but I'm bummed. This is why I don't do 2 shows a week anymore.
Oh gosh, yeah. Thank you guys for being here and listening to us. What do you want us to talk about? Send in your comments, questions, therapyunzipped.com, questions at therapyunzipped.com, and we'll get into them. We'll answer them.
I am having a premonition of the email that's about to come to us, Tom.
Are you?
I,
Oh,
yeah. What do I want Tom and Brett to talk about? Anything but what they have been talking about.
okay. Mhm.
Uh,
I'll look
we're
for it.
having fun.
And I hope you guys have a tremendous rest of the week, great weekend, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right, Tom. Always a pleasure.
Same.